All right. Ready? Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was me saying ready. Okay. I'm Kat.
I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy, the podcast where two teachers unwind, sip wine, and each teach a lesson we can't teach at school. What are we drinking, Hayley?
Okay, don't come for me because I really don't know how to pronounce this one, and I did not look it up beforehand like I have been doing for the past 2 months.
Even when you look it up, though, it doesn't help.
Beg to differ. We don't you don't
Firm.
have me. That's what it was. We should have me pronouncing it before I know how to actually pronounce it, and then after, and see which one is better.
Okay. I feel like we just need Kelly on here to be our French wine pronouncer. Is that one French?
Yeah,
French.
it's a Chateau de Segris 2018 Côte d'Aron.
I think you nailed it.
I think.
You nailed it.
We'll see. Apparently that's what it is. Either way, this is a different type of wine. We both talked about it already when we first tasted it, but it really reminds me of grape juice. And there is a slight hint of carbonation.
Yeah, it's sweet and almost a little carbonated. It's like a dessert wine, it feels like.
Yeah, it is. It's very good. There's obviously it's a red wine. There's a little,
Obviously.
I guess, a chateau on the front of it.
A chateau. What is a chateau? A house?
Big boy house.
Okay.
I don't know I think it's a house. I would say castle, but then I looked closer. It's so funny, what your brain just fills in, because at first glance I was like, there's a castle on the front. And then when I looked at it to show it to you, I was like, that is not a castle.
Let me see it.
It's just...
I mean, it could be a castle. It has a tower.
Right. It's a chateau.
It's a small castle. It's a modest chateau.
Right. Well, this is really good. I'm glad that we got it recommended from our partner. Shout out to High Point Grocery.
Shout out High Point Grocery. If you're in Memphis, check them out. They've got a killer wine selection, and you can pick up this wine there. How much did it cost, Hayley?
$15.99.
Ooh, so it's a bougie one.
It is.
At least for us.
It tastes more like a $30.99 if you ask me.
It tastes fancy. I don't think this hint of carbonation is really interesting. It's not carbonated, but it just tickles your tongue a little bit.
Right. This is if I would have been well-versed at all when I graduated from college after drinking all the White Claws in college, this is what I would have drank the day I graduated to start off, not that night.
So you would have toasted.
Yeah, at dinner. But then later that night, I definitely would have gotten messy.
Yeah, you would have slapped that bag of pink Franzia.
Definitely. You can take the girl out of college, but you can't take the college out of the girl.
No, ma'am, you got your degree. That college is in you forever.
You would think that all the things you learn in college also stay, but
nope.
No, absolutely not.
That was a waste of money. Don't do it. Just kidding. You should probably do it. Maybe, if that's for you. I don't know.
Yeah, do it the smart way, though. I've talked before about going to community college for the first 2 years and then going to university.
Yeah,
save
definitely
that money.
I'm wishing I did that right about now, let me tell you.
I know. Adulthood is
pretty on a pile of debt.
Looking at us hard in the face.
She's staring me down.
I don't know about Bloody Mary, but I know about bloody tuition, and it's bad.
Yeah, it's real depressing. Okay, well, what's not depressing is High Point Grocery, and it is on 469 High Point Terrace in East Memphis, so check them out. They're awesome.
It's every week I look forward to what our recommendation is.
I know.
They're so good.
They are really good. They've never picked something that we don't like, and they also kind of coddle us a little bit because they haven't given us any white wine.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice of them. They probably want to give us white wine. They've been throwing some rosés in there. Our next wine is a rosé.
Right. They're trying to transform us into white wine drinkers, or just have a multi-layered palate.
Yeah. I mean, once the weather gets warm, I'd be down for some white wine. I might throw some White Claw in it, make it a spritzer. Give us a good cheap white wine, and we'll get that and White Claw and make white wine spritzers.
I'd rather have a more expensive white wine. I feel like maybe that would be better.
Really? I feel like all white wine just tastes bad.
Yeah.
No matter how expensive
I feel like the chances are better if it's more expensive. But then again, I don't really like, for me, I'm not a professional. Taste does not correlate to price with wine for me.
That's true. I can't fucking tell. I can tell with like hard alcohol when it's expensive or when it's cheap.
Oh,
but not usually wine. That's like the other day I was doing my nails and I thought I was using the acetone to take the stuff off, but I had accidentally like used like rubbing alcohol and I like put it on the cotton ball and I was like, oh, it smells like college. like cheap fucking Skull like warm vodka out of a Plaf G. Yeah, that I'm never going back to that.
Please no.
No.
Please no. Everyone has that one night that was just really bad and my one night ruined me.
Oh.
You know that one night where it was just too bad?
That was all the nights. Again, don't go to college. Just kidding. You should. Maybe. I don't know.
You should, but you're going to regret it.
Yeah.
It's just something about it. It's life.
I miss it at this point, honestly. I haven't been out of the house in so long. I'd like to go to a frat party. I'd like to go to any party. So like I'd take it.
Every day recording with you is a party to me.
Wow. I hate you. That was stupid.
Because you didn't come up with it?
No, because I just don't like that.
Well, you're wrong.
I don't feel like this is a party and I want to go home. Just kidding.
Wow, way to kill the mood.
I'm kidding. I'm so I actually am really happy to be here. We're
go
recording
home then. Go home.
I don't want to go home. I'm having fun. We're recording on a Saturday, which is something we don't normally do. So I have more energy than I usually have. And I think it's just coming out in meanness.
I kind of like it. I feel like I'm seeing your true self.
You've seen my true self. You've lived with me for over a year.
No, you are very sweet. I like it though. I like the back and forth. You're a sweet person. As much as you're Claudia Severa, you're also very sweet.
Oh, thank you.
It's almost as if you have multiple personalities.
Maybe I do.
Maybe she does.
I'd like to think so. Speaking of multiple, or maybe this isn't really speaking of anything, but
transition.
But my mom was listening to our episode from last week and she was like, you do have a gross food that you like and no one else likes. And it's baby carrots dipped in yellow mustard. I forgot about that one.
Oh yeah, that is gross. I don't have a problem with baby carrots, but mustard?
Yeah. It's pretty good. Or horseradish sauce.
I think I don't like horseradish, but I think it's one of those things that I didn't like as a kid and I haven't tried it again. So
it's good. You like wasabi. Sure. If you like wasabi, you'll like horseradish.
I don't like wasabi.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
You like sushi though.
I do like sushi.
You don't put wasabi on your sushi?
No. Anytime wasabi gets like on my sushi, I can taste it. It just tastes like rust to me.
Really?
Yeah. It's
I love
repulsive for me.
Weird. I'm obsessed with it. I really like those like wasabi almonds.
Ooh.
Love those.
Every time we hear wasabi, I just think of the time our roommate Kelly ate the whole thing of wasabi thinking it was avocado.
Burned her taste buds off. She couldn't taste for 3 days.
So awful.
That was so funny.
We were like, trust us, you're gonna like sushi. And then we look like we're just talking and talking. We realize she hasn't been talking and she's like gasping for
We were
air.
having a deep conversation. Hayley and I were sitting at the table and we were like talking about how happy we were that we met each other and how like the universe like really came through for us and we feel like this is meant to be. And we look over at Kelly and there are tears in her eyes and we're like, wow, like we really like have brought her to tears. Like this is such an emotional moment.
Feel the love.
She had just eaten a glob of wasabi. She was crying tears of pain. And she didn't even say anything.
She probably couldn't say anything. She's like, you bitches.
I just love that she like didn't want to interrupt us. She was just dealing with eating a blob of wasabi. Also, she thought it was avocado, but who just scoops up a blob of avocado and eats it?
It was the last thing. Oh my God, I love avocado.
That's true. It was the last thing. She said she was saving it for the end because it was her favorite.
The waiter walked up and was like, oh my God, do you need milk?
Poor Kelly.
This girl needs milk. Stat. That is such a
That was so funny.
Shout out to you, Kelly.
What a good memory.
Yeah, that's a great memory.
Good times, man. That was when we could live. Go to a sushi restaurant, man.
We ate outside, had Moscow mules.
That was so fun.
God.
Went to Beale Street.
Drank.
Ran around and did dumb stuff.
We still drink, but drank out in public.
It's much better, I must say.
I might still wear a mask after this is all over.
It's going to be weird not to. It's going to feel like you're naked. And also, I kind of like hiding half my face. I don't want people to look at me.
Exactly. I don't want people to look at me. I don't want people to recognize me.
Who would recognize you?
I've been at Kroger and have seen multiple people I've known and just been like,
oh, like people from TFA?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not that I don't like all of you people, but you know.
When you go to the grocery store in your pajamas, you're not trying to have a conversation with an old friend you haven't seen in over a year because of quarantine.
Right. There are two types of people in quarantine. The first one is the person who gets dressed up to go to the grocery store because that's all they do.
No, ma'am.
The second person is you and I, who we're leaning into quarantine.
I've changed out of sweatpants because I have gone to work, but if I'm not literally going to work, all I have is pajamas.
Yeah.
That's all I have in my life.
Else. Like, I haven't bought pajamas since I was like in high school, but I have upped my pair of pajamas in quarantine multiple times.
Yeah. Also, like, I love that style is turning into baggy clothes and matching sets of sweatpants.
Me too.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Thank you, Gen Z.
For that.
Yeah.
Also, I just have to say a lot of people are complaining about the middle part, but I'm versatile. You're versatile.
I've had a middle part since middle school. I fuck with the middle part. I'm not upset about that.
I don't know about canceling skinny jeans because I feel like I had to work really hard as a 6th grader to get skinny jeans.
I just feel like jeans are expensive and I don't want to buy new jeans.
Right. Snip, snap, snip, snap.
Snip, snap.
Make up your mind.
I bought those really cute, like, super flared jeans and then they didn't fucking fit me and I'm still upset about it.
That sucks. I've been trying to eat healthier, so maybe in a couple months.
Yeah, we have these jeans that are like right in between me and Hayley's sizes. Like, they're just slightly too big for me and then slightly too snug on her, and so they're just sitting in the guest bedroom waiting for one of us to be able to fit in them. Who's gonna get there first?
Right. The ultimate prize.
They're really cute.
They are.
I want to wear them.
So cute. Gap is having a big sale right now still, and I was looking. I was like, no. If I I'm all about loving. At least as much as you can, like loving the body that you're in and embracing what you've got. But I'm like, it's just like maybe I should actually try to be healthy.
I've thought about that too, like just so that I don't get like cancer or something, because I do not eat healthy.
Right.
And it's, as I get older, I'm like, my health insurance is not very good. I should probably like start taking some preemptive measures.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but like I truly want to love my body and like for the world to also see that. Cause like I never grew up with a female influence that like loved their body.
Yeah.
And I want to be
I don't think very many of us did.
I don't think so either.
Like I think that like we are gonna raise the first generation of girls that like saw their moms like preach body positivity.
Yeah.
Because like it's not my mom's fault. Like it's just our culture, but she was always on a diet. And then that made me stressed out about my body. Like inadvertently, it's not her fault.
And I feel like a lot of it is social media right now because it's so easy to spread that message when it's like, yeah, I'm sure that message was out there. It's been out there.
Yeah.
But to be able to see somebody represented like that, not even just in ads, but a popular Instagrammer.
Yeah.
Spreading body positivity, like, yeah, it's catching on.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is.
Like in this direction. It'll take a while, but we're going the right way.
Right.
Yeah. But like meanwhile, our like we're putting more and more fillers into our faces. So I think we need to embrace face positivity because that's just like going the opposite way. I bought retinol this week because I'm self-conscious about my fine lines.
I've heard that you don't need retinol until you actually have wrinkles.
But I have fine lines on my forehead. See them?
I feel like it's not like wrinkles though. Like that's
But
just.
it's fine lines, and if I can get ahead of it,
girl,
I can't afford face fillers, so
You're
I gotta
fine.
do something. I gotta buy that $6 bottle of retinol from Amazon Prime.
It's gonna do something. Just trust me, guys. It has to.
Hey, if it does something in my head, placebo effect, I'll take it.
yeah, I'll take it too.
Mm-hmm.
I know this girl I went to the same high school as, and she gets Botox. Like, she doesn't need it, but she's like, Botox can be preventative too. And I'm like,
It can be, but also I was watching a dermatologist on TikTok and they were saying that like the idea that fillers and Botox dissolve is a myth. Like they really just spread out. And so like you're still like it's going to make your face puffy over time because they just like spread.
that makes sense looking at people that you know are older and who have had a lot of work.
Yeah, it makes your face look fucked up when you're older.
Wow.
That's what I tell myself to make myself feel better about not being able to get fillers.
Yeah, I like what you're on to, and embracing our bodies, embracing our faces. There's so many filters and things like that it's really easy to hide behind. But like you're looking at you in the mirror at the end of the day. Like that's what you should really take in and try to love as much as you can. It's
Definitely.
hard.
It is hard.
Hard as fuck sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard. Just do what you can. That's our message.
I'm getting really emotional. Maybe this wine is the wine that's gonna crack us open. Which is gonna be
maybe like yeah. It's a good song.
We're touching each other's faces right now. You're beautiful.
Well, I have no plugs this week. Do you have any like night classy plugs?
I mean, we got our new stickers in.
That's
They're really
true.
cute.
Yeah.
It's been so fun because a couple of my stickers have started to disintegrate, but none of my night classy stickers have.
No, those are Alec made sure we got high quality stickers. They're not gonna like scratch or rub, and they're just $5 with free shipping. And we have like a cute learning journey one. It's like a 60s looking magic school bus kind of thing. And then we have our logo sticker, but it's glitter. So check that out on our website. Our link tree is gonna be in the show notes. They're really cool. That's my only night classy plug. But I was talking to Alec the other day, and he said we should make like sluts for history a thing. And then I was like, but what about sluts for science and hoes for history? Like that just seems like a missed opportunity that we did.
Alliteration.
Hoes for science instead of hoes for history and sluts for science. I mean, as a history major, I would really like a hoes for history shirt.
Yeah. We should do whores for history.
Ooh, that's a good one. Whores
like
for history.
That's a more historic word for some reason too.
That's true. Okay, I like that. See, two brains are better than one. Whores for history. Let's make that a shirt. I want it.
And then it's not just something we decided to put on a sticker. It's something that was said on the show.
Yeah.
Because I just said it.
You just said it. Whores for history. I desperately need that shirt. We have alcohol molecules on the Hose for Science shirt. What would go on the Whores for History shirt? The sound panel just fell and hit Hayley.
You gasped and I didn't know what it was, and then that scared me. Let's see. Whores for history. I don't know.
What if we put like old timey like Western prostitutes on it?
Yes.
That would be cool.
Yes. I love that. Okay, we'll do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Don't dare
like a
us.
tavern girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be so cute. Oh my God, we have to do it. Okay. Anyway. Well, we breathalyzed and I blew a .112.
And I blew a .119.
So Hayley is drunk.
Barely. But I do get to go first. So since March is Women's History Month, I thought I would do a lesson that has a woman and it has history.
Wow.
I know, double whammy. Today we're going to be learning about Bonnie Parker of the infamous duo Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. I realized that Bonnie and Clyde is such like, an offhand thing that you just say to describe like a couple who commits crimes together.
Yeah.
but I don't really know. I realized that, like, I don't really even know anything about them.
Yeah, I know zero. I didn't even honestly know they were real. I thought it was a TV show.
Yeah, they've been in a lot of TV shows. A movie was made, I think, in like the 60s or 70s or 80s, sometime in that 30-year span. But they're very real. Bonnie Parker was born October 1st, 1910, and she grew up around and in Dallas, Texas, and she always wanted to be a movie star. She loved music. She performed in school pageants and talent shows, and she was constantly singing, whether it was on stage or not. And she told her friends, I'm going to be famous one day. And she also loved to write stories and poems. She really had this super bright future as a young person. She ended up getting married at 16 years old to a handsome classmate of hers named Roy Thornton. And I don't have a picture of him, but he's handsome. Like, you know how it can be hard to relate sometimes to like black and white pictures?
Yeah.
He's fine.
Really?
Yeah. Dang, I should have included a picture of him.
Alec will pull one up.
Okay, yeah, please do.
Really?
Okay,
He's fine?
That's a bad picture of him. Can you look up Roy Thornton in prison? Because there's a picture.
He's fine once he gets to prison.
There's a picture of him in some of his. Oh, down. Yeah, that one. Click on it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not seeing what you're saying. He looks like Ted Bundy.
Oh, I think he's pretty all right, in my opinion. I think he's handsome. He's symmetrical.
He's handsome in that mugshot. Go up.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like Alec in that picture.
Yeah, that's a spitting image of my grandfather.
Yeah.
Are you related to Roy Thornton?
Are you attracted to Alec? Want to fight?
He's symmetrical.
Yeah, he is handsome.
So yeah, he's super handsome. Bonnie gets married to Roy, and it just made sense for her at the time. Her dad had died when she was super young. Her mom worked endless, really tough hours at a factory, and Bonnie was just waiting tables at that point as a waitress. And, you know, marriage could be her one-way ticket to domestic bliss. That was not the case. Roy turned out to be a total piece of shit. He cheated on her. He stole. He would leave for long periods of time. And then when he did come back, he would almost always be blacked out drunk and would physically abuse Bonnie. And eventually he did end up landing himself a long stay in jail for robbery and burglary, leaving Bonnie all alone and open to meeting other guys. So she would date around, but no one really caught her eye until Clyde. Clyde Barrow was born March 24th, 1909 in Tellico, Texas. His family had like the most rough time just surviving, literally. Like, they had a farm for a little while, but it was failing hard, and they eventually just had to like flee from the farm to survive. They were living under a wagon, like a pioneer style wagon for a long time. Under it.
Why not in it?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. They probably just lived within the vicinity of the wagon.
Wait, can I tell you something funny?
Yeah, please.
So we were talking earlier today about how I went to Christian horse camp every summer as a child. Yeah. And as you can imagine, Christian horse camp was like 99% girls. And then there was like the odd like boy every once in a while. It was also Christian horse camp. So it was very important to them to keep the girls and the boys separate. So the girls slept in like this, like I guess, I don't know. It was a building. No, but the girls slept in the building. There was like a building with like rooms and bunk beds. The boys had to sleep out in a literal like Pioneer covered wagon without AC or heat.
What?
Yeah.
No.
They weren't allowed to like have a boys' room because they didn't want boys and girls sleeping like even in the same building. So
under the same roof.
Yeah, the boys had to sleep in a covered wagon outside in the middle of the summer.
We got to keep these 10-year-olds separated. They're going to have sex.
Truly, like we were, like it was a children's camp. Like I was probably like, 10.
That's perverted for them to even like think like that. They're like boys and girls can't be together at that age.
Yeah, it was absurd.
Oh my God.
And there was one boy there and he handed me a note that said he liked me. And I was so mad. I was like, he ruined this camp. Like, now I have to feel awkward around him.
That is justified.
Yeah, I was
think.
pissed. It's like, leave me the fuck alone. All I want to do is ride horses and pray.
All I want to do is ride and pray.
Yeah.
Ride, pray, repeat.
Exactly.
Instead of eat, pray, love, ride, pray, repeat.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you like a shirt that's bedazzled that says ride, pray, repeat.
Oh my God. And it has like pink bedazzled cowboy boots on it.
Yeah.
I
And
need
then
an
on the-
excuse to wear cowboy boots again.
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah.
On the back of your shirt, it's going to say, save a horse, ride a cowboy.
Oh my God. Please.
Think of all the mosquito bites they got out in that wagon that they had to sleep
I mean, it
in.
was Washington State by the coast, so there weren't very many mosquitoes.
Oh,
I doubt there were
wow.
any.
Luxury.
Yeah.
You can't walk outside here in Memphis or Ohio without getting bit by a mosquito.
Yeah. That's a bummer.
Big bummer.
Yeah. I'm homesick.
Real quick, do you guys see any similarity there?
Oh my God. They are identical.
Yeah.
Wow.
And your grandpa also kind of looks like Ted Bundy.
Interesting.
They both do.
Yeah, so Roy Thornton, Bonnie's husband, and Alex's grandfather both have like the same hair that kind of goes out at the top, and then their foreheads are both like have right angles at either side, and their noses look similar. I mean,
Yeah, and they've
they
got
both-
that strong brow and the long chin. They
Yeah.
look very similar. And Alec looks like this guy too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I see it in the eyebrows,
Yeah.
maybe the hair a little bit.
I've got Thornton blood.
What if you do? That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy. You got the DNA test for your dog, but what about you? Okay, anyway.
Oh
I did get my DNA actually, so.
Oh, okay. And?
He's white.
Survey
Whitey,
says.
white. Right, I think I do remember that.
I
Okay.
just got a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% white.
Can I make one joke that I wanted
Yeah.
to make when we were talking about Eat, Pray, Love?
Yes.
You know the place where we went to go look at pumpkins?
Yeah.
That place, one year I ran a race by there and they had a big sign that said, they had like a corn maze and it said, zombies, four-wheelers, hay rides. And I was like, this is my Eat, Pray, Love. And I posted.
Is this joke relating to how white you are?
Yeah.
That's a good joke when it would have worked then in the conversation, but also works now.
Yeah.
Great job.
'I'll
10 out of
edit
10.
this out, but can I hit you guys with one more joke that I wanted to make?
Yeah, you don't have to
you should
edit
keep
it
it
out.
in.
I was thinking about this joke earlier this week, and then when you said Gap jeans, I was like, okay, I got to pitch this joke, which is you're in a job interview, and the interviewer says, like, what's this gap in your resume? And it's, you were like working in Gap retail as like a manager. Sorry, I have a gap in my resume, and it's just like working at the Gap.
That's good. It needs
Needs
more
work.
developing. Yeah.
I'll cut this out.
But then you were just like a stripper at a club called The Gap, and that was like you know how like if you're a stripper you wouldn't put it on your resume, and so there'd be a gap in your resume, but then you put manager of The Gap, but it was a strip club called The Gap.
Yes. Or if you wanted to appear intelligent in high school, you go to an orthodontist who works at a office called The Gap, and you talk about how you interned for 4 years.
Now we're
at the
talking.
Gap. Your whole resume is just gaps.
This pod just becomes a writer's room where we're like riffing.
On jokes.
Let's punch it up. We've got this Gap idea. Let's punch it up, guys.
That would be great. I have plenty of jokes that need work.
It's basically just what this podcast is, right? A place to say our stupid jokes.
Yeah, but we're not working on them.
That's true. Well,
If we workshopped them, imagine the podcast we could have.
we kind of are workshopping them. I feel like when you start your stand-up career after quarantine, you'll have a lot of material from this podcast.
I hope so. I have a long list of notes in my phone that I'm ready. I just need to workshop it.
I
so-
can't wait. I can't wait.
I'm so scared, but I'm so
I'm
excited.
so ready. Hayley's gonna be a stand-up comedian, you guys. It's gonna be so fun.
I don't know about that, but I'm gonna have fun just saying stupid stuff. off into a microphone. Okay, enough about me. On to Clyde. Despite his hardships growing up, he loved music. Clyde would play this old guitar that he found on the farm, and he even taught himself how to play the fucking saxophone. Like, who teaches himself how to play the saxophone?
Where did he get a saxophone?
Who knows? Who knows?
I don't.
It was the early 1900s. Maybe there were just saxophones everywhere.
I truly don't think I've ever like seen a saxophone in person.
Weren't you in band?
I was in orchestra, actually. I played the violin. Ever heard of it?
So that's winds.
What?
You played the violin?
Yeah, I played the violin and the standing bass. And I literally didn't know how to play both, so I would just pretend, and I was the last chair in the orchestra in middle school. And then I begged my mom like every day and cried until she let me quit.
I did the same thing for tuba in 6th grade.
You played the tuba?
I played the tuba. I went to band camp that summer, and then I made it 2 months. But when they started to make us play alone, like they'd be like, okay, here's like 2 lines of music.
Yeah.
You need to play it alone. And it was the whole band. And then before that Friday, I convinced my mom and dad to let me quit so that I didn't have to
because
do that.
in middle school you just sign up for orchestra and you don't know how to play and no one teaches you. That's like every Friday my orchestra teacher would make us all like play a couple lines of music by ourselves and we'd compete for chairs, and it was humiliating because I knew every week that I was going to be last chair and I still had to play in front of everybody. It was terrible.
Like, why even make me compete? Just give me last chair.
Can I just like I'm going to resign and play like as the last chair. Like I don't need to play. We know.
Right.
We know what's going on
know,
here.
You know. We know.
Right.
Yeah, I felt the same way. And I think my parents were just reluctant because they were like, well, she's never actually tried anything. And now she wants to quit this too.
But like in order to play an instrument, you either need to like care about playing it and practice a lot, or you need to have private lessons. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have either of those things. I didn't care and I didn't have private lessons. So how am I going to learn how to play in middle school? Tell me.
Right. The high school teachers who came to like sell us band in 5th grade, they did such a great job. I was like, yeah, this all sounds great. But just like anything, they don't tell you about the work that goes into it.
They don't tell you that's hard.
Yeah. Oh, okay, and I did not want to do hard things.
No, I still don't.
Same. All right. Well, back to Clyde. It seemed like Clyde would have pursued a career in music, but his ambition really disappeared when Clyde started seeing his older brother driving these like fancy cars around town and wearing suits. And he wanted to be just like his brother. But his brother wasn't successful in like traditional terms. It's not like he went out and got a job and did hard things. Like he was just stealing cars.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So Clyde was inspired. And as we know, Clyde did pursue this criminal career. But his love for music never went away. He always had his guitar with him until one shootout where he had to quickly flee the scene and he left it behind. He ended up asking his mom if she could go down to the police station and retrieve his guitar. And she was like, okay, let me go see. And she went down to the police station and they were like, nah, dog. Like, no way. So that was just a little fun fact. But how did Bonnie and Clyde meet? That's a good question.
Please tell me.
Different sources say different things. Some say they met at a bar, some say at a party. But from what we understand, they did meet through a mutual friend. And the one thing that we know other than that is that they were pretty much inseparable from the start. It was love at first sight, if you believe in that. The year was 1930. Bonnie was 19 years old and Clyde was about to turn 20. So they were like fast and furious from the get-go. But Clyde went to jail like a month or 2 after they met. It wasn't his first time in jail, certainly not his last, but while he was in prison, he made a ring for her out of like scrap stuff.
Aww.
And he missed her dearly.
Wow, that's sweet.
I know. And Bonnie felt the same way. Within weeks of meeting each other, the two had fallen in love, and this time apart felt unbearable for the both of them. So in February, Bonnie helps Clyde escape from prison. She smuggles a gun into the prison. I don't know how. Like in all my research, I could not find out how she smuggled it
how
in.
hard could it be to smuggle a gun in prison back then? They didn't have metal detectors.
Not hard. People were constantly escaping from prison. It's insane. So yeah, she smuggles it in. Clyde uses this gun and makes it out and lets out a bunch of other cellmates as well. But it doesn't take long for law enforcement to hunt him down again. And this time they're like, we are not fucking around with you, Clyde Barrow. They sentence him to 14 years of hard labor.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. They transfer him to Eastham State Farm, and while he's there, he's actually sexually assaulted by another inmate.
Oh, no.
It's hell for Clyde. This sexual abuse is going on. He's working all hours of the day, just laboring away. But he does find reprieve from the letters him and Bonnie send each other. Clyde cannot stand being there any longer. So he makes another plan. Clyde decides to, and we're not sure exactly how this happened. We don't know if Clyde did it or if he had one of his inmate friends do it, but he has his big toe and his second toe cut off with an axe.
What?
Yes. So that he wouldn't have to do any labor anymore.
Fair enough. That sounds better than what he was going through.
It's the classic like wolf biting its own foot off.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to cut it. And he would never walk the same again. He even had to wear socks while driving after that because he couldn't properly balance in shoes. But that's after he gets out of prison. Turns out his whole stint with cutting off his toes was not even necessary because his mom convinced the judge in his case to give him parole.
Aww.
And he was released 2 weeks later. So he only has 8 toes. Bonnie and Clyde are reunited, but prison doesn't rehabilitate Clyde from his criminal tendencies at all, and he begins the Barrow Gang. This gang is infamous for their robberies, but there are also murders of police officers and civilians along the way. So I'm going to kind of take us through that timeline because their crime spree was really about like 2 years long. Movies and TV tend to portray Bonnie and Clyde as serial bank robbers, but that's not really accurate. They didn't like to rob banks and they didn't do it very often. Over their criminal career, they robbed 15 or less banks. And most of the time, what they would do is Clyde and some of his friends would go in and do it, and Bonnie typically wasn't even involved most of the time. Sometimes she would drive the getaway car, but oftentimes she was just in a hideout, like waiting for them to get back. Yeah, which I was surprised by because I really thought that it was like the two of them against the world. Like,
yeah, I mean, that makes a better movie.
It definitely does.
Her boyfriend's in a gang and she's waiting for him to get home.
Yeah. She definitely likes bad boys. She has a type. Like I said, the couple rarely robbed these banks when it was just the two of them. They were more likely to rob grocery stores and gas stations. And they had to commit these crimes really often because A, who wants to work? And B, the amount of money that they actually got was such small amounts that it would only last them so long. So they were constantly robbing these places. And despite not being involved most of the time, Bonnie still ended up in jail in April 1932. After a failed robbery attempt, she spent 2 months in jail and she ended up writing a lot of poetry in jail, which was later discovered. But she quickly bounces back to her criminal life after being released. And by the end of the month, the gang ends up slaying this civilian jewelry store owner. And they did not like to hurt people. Like, that was not their objective. They just wanted to live free and get money, basically. The man who died was John Butcher, and his wife was an eyewitness, and she was like, it is Clyde Barrow. He is the one. So that kind of put Clyde at the top of the list for the police officers. it definitely.
I'm sorry, but how do they just rob and they haven't been caught yet?
They are stealing cars. They are having like hideouts. I feel like they were just constantly on the run.
Okay. So they weren't in one town. They were moving.
No, this was all over the Midwest and the South.
And the gang all traveled together?
Yeah, the gang was like consistently, it was Bonnie and Clyde. Sometimes they had friends of Clyde. Sometimes they had like other people come in. Later on, we'll see that Clyde's brother and sister-in-law end up joining the gang, and they're pretty consistent until a certain point. But overall, it's pretty much Bonnie and Clyde. Cool. They're the ride or die. Yeah. And this, like, you know, slaying the civilian jewelry store owner was not the peak of violence. In that summer, Clyde and his friend Raymond were approached by a police officer in their car, and they decided to just start, like, they just opened fire on the police officers, and it was bad. Like, they didn't like to kill people, but they were pretty quick with the trigger, it seems like. So the violence continued. The Barrow Gang started to become really well known by 1933. You know, it's kind of hard to ignore all these notorious criminals who are constantly robbing, killing, standing off with the police officers. And like I said, Clyde's brother and sister-in-law joined the gang, and they're all staying in this apartment in Joplin, Missouri. And the police officers found out where the apartment was. So they surround the apartment that the gang is in, and Bonnie and Clyde just stick to what they knew. And they shoot out. 2 police officers were killed in this incident, and the gang hit the road again.
They got out?
They got out.
Dang.
They're constantly getting out.
Are they in shootouts all the time?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Like, they're
That's
like,
exciting.
We don't have to do this, but we're criminals. So yeah, it feels exciting, and it's really easy to romanticize. But can you imagine if this happened? Like, obviously they would probably be caught more quickly than Bonnie and Clyde were, but
also it's just like, this is a white couple, and so like it's been romanticized by the media, but I think it's important to point out that like if they were a minority, it would not be like this romanticized love story that we're making TV shows and movies out of, like that it is today.
That is so important. Thank you for voicing that. And they were romanticized way too long, in my opinion, because there was a turning point in the eye of the public, and we'll see like when they actually started to become romanticized. But yeah, race definitely is a big player in that.
Were they attractive too? Like, I feel like Bonnie's always like portrayed as like this like blonde bombshell kind of a figure.
She was not blonde.
Okay.
I believe she was brunette or had black hair. We'll look at pictures.
Okay, I want to see pictures. And I also feel like I've always gotten Dukes of Hazzard and Bonnie and Clyde confused, which I don't know why.
We pull up these like old black and white photos from the 1930s, and it's like she's just in cutoffs and she's wet.
That's
like,
how I imagine her. I don't know why.
I mean, it's not going to be that far off, honestly. So before we get to the pictures, let me wrap up this part here. So after this shootout, the gang hits the road again. They make their way to Platte City, Missouri. Nothing really happens in this small town. So when this gang arrives, people are suspicious of the newcomers. Police hunted down the gang again, found them in Platte City, and knocked on the door. And then from the inside, they hear a woman's voice. It's like, "Hello, I'll be right there as soon as I get dressed." That was a lie. No one was getting dressed. They just start shooting through the door, and they get away. But
How? Out the window?
Probably. The police did shoot back. Blanche and Buck were injured. That's Clyde's sister and brother-in-law. So they were injured in that like shootout, one of many. But later
Blanche and Buck.
Yeah, I know. What a couple.
What a couple. What a combo.
Buck Barrow. Or is it Blanche?
Blanche Monnier, whatever the hell.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even want to try.
Blanche Monnier. What the hell? What are we even referencing?
We're referencing the girl in the attic.
Oh, yeah.
That I did a lesson on. Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah, that was a scary one.
Go back to some episode to learn more about.
It's called The Girl in the Attic, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Or Blanche. I don't remember. Who knows? There's no way to know.
It happened in France. So
yeah.
Her name was Blanche.
And she was drinking Côte du Rhône, Chateau de Saint-Gernis.
Killing it. Nailed it. Later that summer, after the shootout, officers find private possessions of Bonnie and Clyde in one of their old hideouts in Joplin, Missouri. They came across this film that was undeveloped and some poems that Bonnie wrote. When they developed the film, they found these pictures that basically Bonnie and Clyde had a little like photo shoot.
Ooh, were they naked pics?
I wish.
It
was pretty. It's pretty cute though. I feel bad saying they were cute, but it's pretty cute. This is where we get most of the pictures of Bonnie and Clyde. Alec, you can pull up those pictures now.
Oh, they were pretty cute.
Yeah,
and she's not actually as hot as I thought she was. She kind of looks like an Amish woman. She's wearing a bonnet.
She was aight.
Yeah.
But the first picture is just them standing in front of their car, and Bonnie is like being held up on one arm by Clyde.
He's strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they literally look Amish. Not like they just look very old timey. I picture her in Daisy Dukes for some reason.
Oh my God.
I know it's the 1930s, but my mind can't like wrap its head around
I feel like that's what her personality would have been. Go to the next one, Alec. Okay, Kat, describe what you're seeing in this picture.
Oh, okay, she does look pretty cool. She's dressed like an Amish woman, but
she's dressed like they live in the 30s.
I know. But she's holding a pistol and smoking a cigar, which is pretty badass.
Turns out Bonnie didn't even smoke cigars.
She was just posing with it.
It was just posing.
That's the best.
Yes.
I love her.
She was known to smoke cigarettes. Camels were her like cigarette of choice back then. Yeah, Clyde just gave her his freaking cigar to just bite down on. And like this was all posing. Go to the next one, Alec, please. There's a picture of them kissing.
There they go.
They were like really flirtatious and funny. Like she's holding a gun up to him and he's like, his arms are kind of out. Like he's like surrendering to her a little bit and they're both slightly smiling. But yeah, this was really the turning point for the public. They developed these pictures and they published them so that everyone could see and recognize these criminals, but it really had the opposite effect. The public was like, "Aw, they're so cute." And I feel like that's where they really started to get romanticized.
Mm-hmm.
The Barrow Gang took hostages sometimes, but only when it was necessary, and they typically released them safely. H.D. Darby and Sophie Stone were taken as hostages one day when Bonnie and Clyde needed a car. Bonnie and Clyde were really rough on them first, like beating them up and stuff, but they quickly got soft with them. And when they dropped them off in Arkansas, Clyde felt so bad about what they'd done to them. He gave them $5, which is about $100 today.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Oh, let me be your hostage."
No, I'll take it. That's groceries, baby.
Exactly. Like 2 weeks worth of groceries.
Yeah.
Feed me. And he also told H.D. Darby, who was an undertaker, and I didn't know what an undertaker was. Do you know what that is?
I imagine it is like a funeral home type operator.
Yeah, it is. It's like a mortician.
Yeah.
I had no clue. I got it through context clues and after looking it up. I had to trust but verify, okay? I just didn't want to seem really, really stupid. Like, and right now I just seem really stupid, but I didn't.
You could have just not told us you didn't know what that was.
Well, I think I did. I think I did tell you that. But H.D. Darby, this one hostage, was an undertaker, and Clyde was like, listen, when I die, I'd like you to embalm me when I die. Here's $5 for your trouble.
What
and
a
then they
weird
took off.
ask.
I know. Okay. And then after that, in June 1933, Bonnie was seriously hurt in a car accident. Clyde was driving, obviously crazy, as you do when you're fucking trying to get away from the police constantly. And he missed a construction sign and they went off of the road completely. And this acid burned into Bonnie's leg.
Wait, what acid?
I don't know, acid from the car or
They
something.
just had acid?
Or it was like oil. One source said acid, but I'm thinking it was probably oil.
Okay.
Could
Yeah.
be battery acid too.
From the car?
Yeah, if the car crashed.
Oh.
Yeah, like they went over the edge of like a cliff, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was fucked up. Everyone in the car was injured, but Bonnie was most severely burned on her leg. She also had cuts all over her arms, her legs, her face, and they had to get Bonnie medical treatment. Like they tried taking her to a barn and sprinkling like baking soda, I think, over the burn, and that's what stopped it from like eating through the rest of her flesh and like tendons and shit.
Oh my gosh.
But they're like, fuck, we gotta take you to the hospital.
Also, I'm sorry I laughed. I was just picturing Dr. Pol from this veterinary show I watch. He always puts like, what is it? Carbon nitrate or something?
Yeah, what is
Copper
it?
nitrate,
sulfate.
copper sulfate. And he just like dumps it on the wound of every animal who comes in and just like slaps them on the ass. And
This is magic dust.
This is magic dust. Yeah.
He's like, this is my dandruff. I have studied for years.
Yeah, literally.
Take my extra skin cells.
He's like Dutch or something. He's like, put a little copper sulfate on it and they're good to go.
He knows what he's talking
Yeah.
about. I would trust him. Like
I trust him with my life.
yeah, I would have him deliver my future children.
Yeah, me too. I mean, he did get his veterinary license suspended for a while because of that show. But
Really?
whatever.
He did something bad?
Well, he did. He like neutered his own dog and like wasn't wearing a mask while doing it because he was just like a casual country vet. And I think it's kind of unfair, but I get it.
He spayed
Also.
his dog, which is more invasive.
That's true.
Yeah, there are rules.
Yeah, you should probably follow the rules, especially when you're on TV.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I don't know anything about being a vet, but it seems like you should probably follow the rules.
I don't know anything about being a vet, but I do know about being on reality TV, and he fucked up.
Yeah, you gotta watch what you do.
Well, anyway.
Also, wait, I'm
go
sorry,
ahead. Yes,
one more
please,
thing.
Go forth.
Charles Pole is like a producer on that show and like Dr. Pole's son. And I sent him a DM on Instagram asking him to be on Night Classy when I was like peak obsessed with that show. But I don't think he's been on Instagram in years because like his last post was from like 2017. So he never responded to me.
Dang.
I know.
Watch him respond in like 10 years from now. And we're like, we're talking to fucking Oprah, so we don't need you.
I would still love to talk to him. I'm obsessed with him.
I would too. I want to talk to him and his dad.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Let me talk to your daddy.
We have Daddy Pole and Baby Pole on Night Classy today.
Big pole, little pole.
Oh, God. Ew.
I'm sorry. Let the record show that I'm sorry. Anyway, back to my lesson. Getting distracted.
Sorry.
By all the polls. So they go to the hospital, but obviously it's hard to avoid the police when you're in the hospital. So they did not stay long. They just, checked themselves out of the hospital after Bonnie got enough treatment. And they flee to Iowa, where they stay in an abandoned amusement park.
Oh my gosh, fun.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like criminals have to have fun too.
That sounds like the best. Or it could be really scary. It's either really fun or really scary.
I wonder what they were scared of. I mean, I don't know if they were scared of being
ghosts?
caught. Yeah, maybe.
I'd be scared of ghosts in a abandoned amusement park.
Right. Like nothing even needs to happen there that would make it haunted. Just it being abandoned is enough.
Yeah. I'm just picturing like Freak Show from whatever you call it.
American Horror
Story.
I didn't watch that season. I say as if I know, but I'm like, I know that show, not that season. But yeah, seems scary. But the police were always on their tails, and Bonnie and Clyde successfully flee the scene when the police arrive at this abandoned amusement park. But Buck and Blanche don't get away. The police shot Buck, and Blanche wanted to stay with her husband, so she was arrested, and Buck died later that day in the hospital.
I mean, if your name is Buck, you're gonna get shot.
Get bucked.
I'm sorry, that was mean.
I mean, he did. Okay, never mind.
That's true. He killed people.
Right.
I mean,
I don't know.
No one deserves to get shot.
Yeah, I don't deserve to say who deserves to die or not.
This just like it to me. This is all still fiction, so I feel like I can say stuff, but like these are real people, so I should shut up.
All I'm saying is that you're shitty. Not you, Buck and Bonnie and Clyde and all them, all their friends, and you.
What if the cop said the buck stops here and then shot him?
I mean, they had years to practice what they were going to say. I'm sure they did. Hey, Buck, it's time to buckle up because you're on a straight shot to hell. Bam, bam. Okay. So, as you can imagine, many of Bonnie and Clyde's friends ended up in jail. You know, they say birds of a certain feather flock together.
Jailbirds now.
Hey, good one. They were jailbirds for sure. One time, Raymond helped Clyde get rid of a sheriff's body after they killed that person a few years back, and Ray was in prison. And it was the same prison that Clyde had spent a few years in when he was younger. And Clyde was fiercely loyal. He decides that he's going to break Raymond out. So Bonnie and Clyde set up their plan to shoot at guards in the yard while all of the prisoners are just out in the yard. So they shoot at all the guards, and it was successful as they wanted it to be. Their friend and all the other prisoners successfully escaped from that prison yard. I can't imagine the prison guards are doing well, but the prisoners escaped. And up until this point, from the time that they found the pictures of Bonnie and Clyde until now, they were romanticized by the public. I mean, they still are, but it's different when you romanticize history, I feel like, versus what's going on then. And
right.
It
is crazy they were being romanticized at the time. I didn't know that.
It's crazy they're being romanticized now.
Oh, for sure. But even more crazy.
Yeah, even at the time. Yeah. And I would even go so far to say that they were popular. People liked them. And Bonnie definitely achieved her dream of fame. Not how she expected to, but she fucking did that shit nonetheless.
Beggars can't be choosers.
But the public's opinion changed after one fateful day when two police officers approached Bonnie and Clyde's car, and again, just like before, they shoot and kill the officers. So for some reason, this is the crime that breaks the camel's back, and the public opinion of Bonnie and Clyde just goes to shit. And despite being these hardened criminals who did rob people, they did kill people, they did still have hearts, and they were both very close with their families. And their families stood by them no matter what. Even though they did not agree with their actions or their lifestyle, Bonnie and Clyde would go back to Dallas to visit often with their families. Their tactic was to drive by their family homes and throw a bottle with a note inside onto the lawn. And then inside, the note gave them to directions about where to go to meet outside of town. Yeah.
That's exciting.
I know. Imagine if that's how you went home.
Yeah.
To Seattle.
I want to. That would be crazy.
Your mom would be so pissed. She'd be like, you drove by the house and didn't even come in.
Right. I made dinner.
Yeah. This is cold dinner now. But they would always meet up outside of town to get a good visit in. And Bonnie and Clyde's parents did not like each other at first. Bonnie's mom was like, she would yell at Clyde's parents like, your son ruined my daughter's life. Like, look what they've become.
I mean, fair enough.
Definitely fair enough.
Yeah.
And they didn't get along for a while, but they ended up learning to get along because the only way that they could actually see their children was to communicate with each other and plan a way to get outside of town to actually go and see them.
Wow.
And then whenever Bonnie and Clyde had money, they would share it with their families. They would get them clean clothes. Clyde was even trying to buy some land for his mom and dad when he passed away. And eventually, after everything goes down, as we're about to get into, several members of Clyde's family would serve time in jail for aiding and abetting. All right, we're almost to the end. In May 1934, police officers got a tip-off about where Bonnie and Clyde were headed. And it was from the father of one of the guys in the Barrow Gang. His name is Henry Methvin.
I wasn't going to say anything, and then I looked at your face.
Haha, meth. Ruins
Did
lives.
you have the word meth like underlined in your notes? You're like, are you ready for it?
Can you feel it, Mr. Krabs?
Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
Henry Methvin. Yes, his father was obviously wanted his son back. He wanted his life to be normal again. And him and his son were very close. And Henry and his father were in cahoots. Henry's a fucking snitch. He conspired with his dad to set up Bonnie and Clyde. In exchange for their cooperation, the law enforcement agencies granted Henry Methvin amnesty.
They let him have all the meth he wanted.
Right, exactly.
He just becomes a snitch.
Free meth for Bonnie and Clyde. Well, not for them, but we'll give you free
in
meth
exchange.
in exchange. Did meth exist then?
I have no idea.
Me either.
My classy topic.
There we go. History of meth. That would be a really depressing topic.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah. X that.
We try to keep this fun.
Yeah. There is this drug that I learned about, though, that was really popular in like really cold countries like Russia. It's called coyote, I think is what it's called. And basically it ends up eating your skin.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Why is it popular where it's cold?
I don't know. I don't remember.
And it eats your skin?
Yeah, like people have to get limbs amputated because they've had so much of it.
Oh my God, that's really upsetting. But
I know.
Also sounds like a good lesson topic.
It does,
Not
but I
gonna
don't
lie.
know how, like, I know people like dark things, but like sometimes it's a little too dark.
That's like, what were we talking about in the car? You had a good lesson topic brought up. It was, Bitcoin.
Right.
One of us should do Bitcoin.
We should.
I know nothing about Bitcoin.
I could do something on Bitcoin.
Yeah, do it.
I thought about doing like an adult financial literacy lesson.
That would stress me out. Don't do that.
I did not want to stress anybody out.
No, that's very triggering.
That could be a Patreon lesson because there are things that I've learned that other people need to know.
Okay, well, I don't want to be part of that. I like to stick my head in the sand and pretend.
That's what so many people think too, and I get that. I feel the same way, but whether we like it or not, finances are important.
But they're not fun.
They're not fun.
I mean, I guess neither is math. So
also, I don't know if I should be even preaching on finances, but I have learned
hey, you're
things.
doing all right. You're doing all right. You're doing better than most people your age.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. Okay, let's get to the end of this lesson. So they set up this ambush, and Henry Methvin's father is standing on the side of the highway next to his broken down truck. And 3 different law enforcement agencies were involved. They set up in like a hidden spot on the highway and just waited for Bonnie and Clyde. And then when Bonnie and Clyde are like zooming down the highway, they see Henry Methvin's father and they're like, hey, we know that guy. Let's help him with his broken down truck.
Wow, that's so rude.
I know.
They got him while they were helping.
And they knew they were going to help.
Oh my gosh.
Because like, yeah, they were fucked up criminals, but also they had hearts.
They cared about their people.
Yeah, definitely. So they pull over to help him. And as soon as they stop, the police officers just start shooting. And basically it seems like they just don't stop until they walk up to the car. Like they were not going to get away this time. Footage from that day tells us that Bonnie and Clyde's car was shot at least 112 times.
Jesus.
The coroner reported that Bonnie's body had 26 bullet holes in it and Clyde's had 17.
Oh my God. That's so unnecessary.
I know.
They probably weren't even armed when they got out of the car to help.
Bonnie literally died with a sandwich in her hand.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
I mean, they had caused a lot of harm, so something needed to happen.
Yeah, but that's way too much.
It's excessive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely excessive. They were difficult to embalm because all of the bullet holes in their bodies.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so fucked up.
And remember that Undertaker guy from before they took his hostage?
Did he do the body?
Yeah, he attended to their bodies. And news spread quickly that day about the ambush. Like, I'm shocked at how quickly it spread because a crowd formed at the crime scene. People wanted souvenirs from the infamous duo. Some people cut locks of hair from Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh my God.
They cut clothing off of Bonnie and Clyde. Someone cut Clyde's ear off.
Part of me is like, that's so fucked up. But the other part of me is like, if my great grandma gave me a scrap of Bonnie and Clyde's jeans, I'd treasure that forever.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
I would laminate it.
Yeah. I wouldn't want like the ear or the hair. Like that's too much.
Yeah.
That's not nice, but
I still have your hair.
Or one of the bullet casings.
Yeah,
that's
that
a good
would be
souvenir.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alec, you can show. The next picture is a picture of the crowd at the scene. There's a ton of people there. Or, oh no, it's not the crowd. Well, you can just trust me. There were a ton of people there.
I was going to say, that's literally a carnival.
Yeah, well, the death car that they went in did travel around carnivals for a long time. Multiple replicas and fakes were created, but you can see it's just riddled with bullet holes.
That's wild. It looks like a PT Cruiser. Mm-hmm. Where is it now?
I believe it is in a casino in
casino?
Nevada. Mm-hmm.
That's fucked. It should be in a museum.
It's been in museums. It's been all over. It travels. And there have been, like I said, multiple fakes created. Yeah. So I think that some people think that this is the real one or this is the real one.
Oh, I see.
But I think the real one is legit in a casino right now.
Okay.
Police found Clyde's saxophone in the vehicle they died in. An estimated 20,000 people showed up at Bonnie's funeral.
Wow.
Yeah. Bonnie and Clyde requested before they died to be buried next to each other, but their families, again, did not like each other. They did not approve, so they were buried in completely separate cemeteries.
That sucks.
I know, like literally someone's dying wish.
Yeah.
What does it matter to you?
Right. Yeah, that's really stupid.
I'm going to end on a couple lines from one of Bonnie's poems, and it's just really telling of like how she saw, I think, her life, because she did some forecasting here. It is from her poem called The Trail's End. And the last stanza reads, "Someday they'll go down together and they'll bury them side by side. To few it'll be grief, to law a relief, but it's death for Bonnie and Clyde."
Wow, look at that. That gave me chills.
Yeah, they knew. They
were going to go out with a bang.
Definitely.
Live fast, die young, motherfucker.
Right. About 100 bangs or more, probably 200 bangs. Well, that is the end of my lesson. So hopefully you know more about this infamous duo, Bonnie and Clyde, than you did when we started.
I literally thought they were made up. So yes, I do.
They're too real. My sources are a YouTube video called The Most Evil Crime Couple in American History and another YouTube video called A Timeline of Bonnie and Clyde's Spree of Love and Crimes, FBI.gov, Hemmings.com, Bonnie and Clyde Death Car Controversy Takes Center Stage for Upcoming Anniversary, Biography.com for Clyde, Barrow, and Bonnie Parker, and the SmithsonianMag.com.
Well, thank you for that lesson, Hayley, and let's hear a word from our sponsor. As a teacher who is about to be going back into the classroom, there's a lot of unknowns, and therefore I've been getting extremely stressed out. And when I get stressed out, my skin also gets stressed out and gets really, really dry. I don't know how or why, but it does. And what's been saving my life right now is Ralphie and Alice.
Oh my God, I cannot agree more. It's like my skin is a teenager and there's just no calming it down except for my lips, which is really nice because, I mean, Ralphie and Alice is all vegan, cruelty-free, natural ingredients. So it calms my lips right down and it gets that moisture right back into them.
Yeah, it's like deeply moisturizing. And it feels like it's going to be really moisturizing because it's like big. I don't know. For some reason, like the fact that it's big like a glue stick just makes me feel like it works better. Yeah, she's thick. So if you're new here, Ralphie and Alice is an incredible lip balm company. They're a small business. They are philanthropic. They really care about their ingredients and their packaging is all biodegradable. They're just amazing all around and we absolutely love them.
Oh yeah, I could not believe it. They sent so many cute little stickers in the package when we got them, and I love stickers. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but if you like stickers too, you'll like this, and I just know you'll like the lip balm. There's one that gets rid of all the dead skin. There's one that's just moisturizing, one that's SPF protective for your lips, which is super important, and there's one that tints your lips naturally.
Yeah, a little bit of rose balm. So if you are interested in Ralphie and Alice, you can go to ralphieandalice.com and use our promo code NIGHTCLASSY, just the name of this podcast, no spaces, and get 15% off your order.
Kiss dry lips goodbye.
Mwah. Well, hello and welcome back. I'm ready to give a 45-minute long presentation. How fun.
Let's do it.
Okay, well, I am a hoe for science and a list bitch this week.
Hey.
So I am very excited. And today I'm going to be talking about vestigiality.
What?
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 What? So do you know what like a vestigial organ is?
Like no, I
No,
don't.
were you about to say your arms?
No, that's an appendage. I got vestigial and appendage mixed up.
So your arms would actually kind of be the opposite of a vestigial organ because we really depend on our arms and we use them all the time. So a vestigial trait or organ, vestigial structure, or vestigial behaviors. These are traits in humans or animals that have lost most or all of their original function through evolution.
Like your tonsils?
Yeah, exactly. Like your tonsils. So they're things that were useful to our ancestors, but now that we're different and living in a different world, they no longer serve a clear purpose.
We've evolved.
We have. And we've evolved a hell of a lot.
On.
We used to be fucking fish. Like we've evolved a lot. And so we have a lot of structures that we no longer need.
I thought you were going to say we used to be fucking fit. And I was like, yeah, we used to be fit.
I mean, probably.
Hunting and gathering and shit. Now we just have M&Ms at the ready.
Yeah. Now I just sit at a desk all day and eat sweet tarts and hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
Things are going well.
Thousands of years from now, they're going to be like, we used to be unfit. Now we're immobile.
To quit. Anyway, a lot of times like they used to have a major function, but now still like maybe retain a small function or kind of develop into doing something else, but not something super important. Also, sometimes organs are wrongly classified as vestigial, but like really we just didn't understand the real purpose of them when they were classified. And so some examples of vestigial behavior include goosebumps, the Palmar grasp reflex, hiccuping, like you said, tonsils, or like, of course, the most, I think, well-known example, which is our appendix. And so I'm just going to go through a list of some vestigial organs and structures and behaviors and talk about them because this is like there's some really interesting stuff in here. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
The first thing I'm going to talk about is, as I just said, the most famous example, which is the appendix. I don't know about you, but I had no idea what the appendix even was. I just know that like sometimes it ruptures and like it has to get taken out. Yeah, it's like very, very painful and like you have to get it taken out or you'll die.
It's like a built-in bomb.
Pretty much, yeah. So it's a narrow tube that joins to the end of your colon. And we think that its original purpose was when we were herbivores and we would eat a lot of like tough plant material, like just grasses and leaves. And over thousands of years, of course, we branched out and became hunters and gatherers and ate a wider variety of food and stopped eating so much just plant material. So we no longer really needed our appendix and it became mostly useless. But then like, why do we still have it? It's been hypothesized that we still have it because bigger appendixes are less likely to rupture. So they're actually naturally selected for because when you have a smaller appendix, it's more likely to become infected. So people with smaller appendixes like tend to die out faster. And so even though we don't use it, we're still naturally selected to have these large appendixes.
What if it was that way for like butts? Like that's why people like big butts so much is because
like people with small butts, their butt ruptures and it kills them. Oh God, I'm scared.
Tommy had
I'm a ticking time bomb.
Sorry about your luck.
I know.
Tommy had his appendix removed.
Really?
Yeah. He was like in college. He had come home like pretty much miraculously, honestly, because he came home and he was like, he told his dad, he's like, oh, I'm going to skip dinner. I'm not feeling so good. And his dad was like, you don't look good. We need to go to the hospital. Like for some reason, his dad was just like ER immediately. And they went and his appendix was about to rupture.
Dang.
Which like, yeah, how often are you going to look at someone and be like, you look bad. Let's go to the hospital.
No, like especially as a woman, like I get like debilitating stomach cramps all the time.
Yeah.
And like I wouldn't think anything of it. I'd be like, okay, like I'm having really fucked up period cramps right now. And then I die.
Yeah. I had mono for a month and it was like one day when I finally like drove home from work and could barely drive. My mom was like, let's go to the hospital. And they were like, you're in bad condition.
Oh my God.
It's like women just put up with shit because that's the human condition.
Yeah, I guess so. Also, like I feel like it just sucks going to the doctor, especially when you don't have your parents to take you.
Oh my God. It's
like
the worst.
I would put it off for anything.
It's scary. I don't know what to expect.
I don't know if you're going to get slapped with a huge bill because we're in fucking America where we don't have socialized healthcare. Anyway.
Life is hard if you're asking. Yeah, it's bad.
It sucks. Anyway. Appendixes were for a long time thought to be completely useless, just like you said, ticking time bombs. But a group of researchers at Duke University Medical Center found that appendixes might actually store beneficial bacteria that's important for repopulating the intestine after illness. So if you have a bunch of diarrhea, it like wipes out your good bacteria. So this could be a way to get that back in there. And it's kind of more of like a small secondary function, like how I mentioned in the beginning, that sometimes these vestigial organs will pick up a smaller function, make them useful. My second thing is the Plica Semilunaris, which is your third eyelid. So if you look into your eyes, in the corner, in like the inner corner of our eye by our tear duct, we have a small fold of tissue. And this is an old nictitating membrane.
What?
I don't know. I didn't practice these words.
We don't know either.
Nictitating?
Nicotine?
No. But these are like the third eyelid that like birds, reptiles, and amphibians have that like blink sideways and clear out their eye. And we have a remnant of that from when we used to be reptiles or whatever we were. I don't really understand evolution, but we were something. We were amphibians.
I could have used it this morning. I woke up and immediately when I opened my eyes, Tommy was like, "Oh, you have black stuff in your eye."
Like when your mascara like gets into your eye gunk.
Yeah. And I wash my face every night.
Sometimes like especially if you have like that fiber mascara that makes your lashes longer, like the little like black fibers get mixed in sometimes.
Oh yeah, they were mixed in there.
Yeah,
they were like making a little eyeball stew.
Little eyeball stew. I got this new brow gel and it like my eyebrows are dark brown because I'm not blonde, unlike what Hayley thinks.
Okay, but also your sticker that you made of your Bitmoji, I took it off my thing because it was all like faded, like it completely faded.
It had blonde hair because I used to have a shit ton of blonde highlights, but now I don't because they've grown out because of quarantine.
Well,
anyway,
the end of your hair
is
blonde.
Anyway, it like it's like a dark brown brow gel, and when like I wash my face and it comes off in like goop, like pieces. It's really nasty. Anyway,
nice. I like your ring, by the way. Just noticed.
Thank you. It's from my FabFitFun box.
You're like selling me on getting a FabFitFun box.
I fucking love FabFitFun boxes. I got I got like a duffel bag with daisies all over it. That's my new teacher bag in my FabFitFun box. And I got new slippers this month in my FabFitFun box. We're not sponsored by FabFitFun, but I wish we were because
we should be.
We should be. And HelloFresh. Anyway, my third vestigial structure is wisdom teeth. You've had your wisdom teeth out, right?
Yeah, I only had 3. I was missing
weird.
one. Yeah, my mom only had 3 as well. So
wow,
my teeth have been through it. But yeah, only 3 wisdom teeth. I don't know what that means.
Okay. I think it's lucky.
Or it means I'm a little less wise than the average Joe.
Well, then I'm like 0 wise because my dentist told me that they'll probably never come in.
Oh, well, you have them at least.
I think, I have them, like, but they're just, they haven't come in yet, and I hope they never come in because going under anesthesia is expensive.
Yeah, I think I know 2 people actually who had their wisdom teeth like come in and kept them, and one of them like chews and you can hear it like clicking at the back of their mouth. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I know.
When I was in high school, I wanted to be a dentist. And so I job shadowed a dentist for a day and I watched someone get his wisdom teeth taken out without anesthesia.
What?
Because he couldn't afford anesthesia. So they just use local anesthetic. And the way they take them out is they hit them and break them into pieces and then pull them out piece by piece. And he was awake for this.
He couldn't feel it though. He was just not knocked out.
I don't think he could feel it, but like imagine even if your mouth is numb, someone like, because have you ever gotten a cavity filled?
Oh, girl.
Yeah, same. Like your mouth is numb. It doesn't hurt, but you can still feel them drilling into your teeth. Imagine feeling them breaking your teeth.
Right. They're always like, you're not going to feel anything. It's just going to be pressure.
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing at the fucking gynecologist. I'm like, pressure is bad. Like I don't want pressure in my mouth or anywhere.
No, I don't want pressure. And also like it makes me think like maybe he could feel it because even when I get cavity filled, even every once in a while they'll hit a nerve in there and it'll hurt
for a split second.
Yeah. So it was just really fucked up. He looked like he was struggling. I felt so bad. He didn't have medical insurance, so he didn't want to pay for anesthesia, which is like we just have a fucked up healthcare and like system.
Yeah.
Like please let's do something about that. Anyway. But it was crazy to watch. So we have these wisdom teeth. And if you don't know, they're an extra set of molars that sometimes grows in during your young adult years. Our ancestors needed these molars because we were eating a lot of plant matter, which involved extra chewing. And we had these big jaws back then because we were chewing so much. Like imagine horses, like they chew grass, so they have these big jaws. And that chewing that tough material also wore down our teeth. So these were kind of like replacement teeth that would come in after like our other teeth kind of started getting worn down.
What other things could humans use a replacement for? How about a liver? Replacement livers?
That would be
backup.
good. Replacement skin.
Oh, yes. Give me a new face. As soon as I hit 50, hit him with that. Bah! She's young.
Make me young again. Once our diet started becoming more varied and we started cooking our food, chewing became easier and our jaws like evolved to become smaller because you don't need to be putting energy in making these big jaws when we don't need them. Our teeth also stayed in better shape. What?
I'm so sorry. This is highly.
This is going to be the longest episode in the world.
This is highly inappropriate. But I was like thinking, like, as soon as like sex started to become not just for like reproduction, we got better at like swallowing because people were giving more blowjobs. Our throat muscles got stronger.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Is it?
Yes.
I know. I said it was inappropriate. It was so stupid. I just couldn't help but laugh. I'm so sorry. That is stupid.
Apologize for all the kids listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should just edit that out.
No, we shouldn't. We say enough dumb stuff.
I know. I'm totally kidding.
Yeah. They can, if they've made it this far, they can handle it.
It's the truth.
Now, of course, our jaws aren't big enough usually to accommodate for wisdom teeth, so we get them removed. Otherwise, they grow in and mess up our bite and our teeth. But some people don't grow wisdom teeth, and that's called agenesis. It's interesting because it kind of like falls along race. So like 0% of Tasmanian Aboriginals have agenesis. They all get their wisdom teeth. Whereas nearly 100% of indigenous Mexicans don't get wisdom teeth at all. They have this gene where they don't get them.
Can we track that on the evolutionary map?
I don't know. I didn't. I'm sure like I'm sure if you like mapped it out by race, you would see correlations, especially if it's like this drastic, like this group 0% and this group 100%. And I guess the difference is what's called the PAX9 gene, which either like makes you grow wisdom teeth or you don't. And then they also think that there's maybe some other genes in play. We're not entirely sure.
That's interesting. And yeah, I was just thinking about like where certain groups live.
Yeah. And it might be like their ancestors maybe like grew larger jaws or didn't. I don't know. I didn't do a ton of research because this is more of a list, but
yeah,
it'd be interesting to look into more. I'm sure you could do a whole lesson on wisdom teeth.
My question is, what genes do I need to get a strong jawline? Like I need that cut.
Botox, fillers.
Okay.
Get through that. There's also something called extrinsic ear muscles, and that's the muscles like, you know how some people can wiggle their ears?
Yeah,
those are those muscles. And back when our ancestors used to like perk their ears up and like move their ears around to hear things, that's what was doing that. And not all people can wiggle their ears because we don't really need to do that anymore because humans can move our heads back and forth so easily. But in our primate ancestors, like a lot of monkeys, they can't turn their heads, so they need to be able to move their ears.
Why did I just realize that I've never seen a monkey like truly turn their head?
Yeah, it's only, I think great apes can turn their heads, but some monkeys can. It's not all
like
of them.
Turn their whole body.
Yeah, they turn their bodies.
Wow, I'm so observant.
I didn't know that either, and I was kind of confused by that, but I guess a lot of monkeys can't turn their heads. There's something called the Palmar grasp reflex, and that's a vestigial behavior. So you know how when you touch a baby's hand or stroke their palm, they'll grab your finger?
Yeah.
This usually happens as early as 16 months in utero up until the child is 6 months old. They'll hold on to your finger so tightly that it can support their body weight.
Yeah, they can hold themselves up as like newborns fresh out of the womb.
Exactly. And that's a vestigial trait because back when we had distant monkey ancestors, babies would cling to their mom's fur and ride on their backs. And we still do that.
So cute.
Yeah.
And babies can actually, they develop the reflex for walking like pretty much immediately, but they just can't support their own body weight and don't have the coordination. If you put a baby in water, their feet make like a walking motion.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
My next one is the coccyx or tailbone. And our tailbone, as I'm sure you know, is a remnant of a lost tail. All mammals have a tail at some point in their development. Humans have a tail for about 4 weeks in the womb, and our tail is most prominent in embryos for about like 31 to 35 days old. The tailbone has lost all its like original function, which of course with a tail assists with balance and mobility, but our tailbone actually does still have some secondary functions. It's an attachment point for muscles, and it just kind of like serves as this attachment point, which helps us, walk and stuff like that. And it's also an insertion point for muscles on the pelvic floor. There are some rare cases where people are still born with their tails.
Dude, I am not even kidding or exaggerating when I say that either I had a slight tail when I was born and no one has told me, or my tailbone is just irregularly long.
It might be irregularly long
because it pokes out. And also, might be TMI, but my butt crack is crooked. Like the top of it looks like there's a scar.
Have you shown me it before or just told me about it?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
But that's interesting.
I can show it to you if you want.
Okay. I kind of like to see it. Can you see your tailbone like sticking out?
It's straight and then it goes to the left. Like it's like a 45-degree angle. And I've asked my mom if I had a tail and she says no. But I'm like, maybe you were just like drugged while giving birth. And like, I have never asked my dad about it. So maybe they just did a little snip with a little tail action.
That's pretty much what they do, because these tails are usually there's no bone in them. There are just muscle and skin. Like they're usually just removed. And then people born with a tail like just go on to live normal lives. It causes no like health impacts. You can just take it right off.
I really think I had a tail.
Maybe you were one of the 23 people, because there's been 23 reported cases since 1984.
Wow.
Maybe you were one of them.
So you have a scar there?
It looks like a scar. Literally, do you guys want to see my butt crack right now?
I won't, but do you want to see it, Kat?
I don't need to see it right now. Maybe we can wait.
I feel like I need to defend my honor.
Because I was going to say that would be pretty fun to have on the air.
Sure. I don't care.
All right.
I'll see your
I'll
butt
avert
crack.
my eyes.
Alec, you can see her butt crack if she's okay with it.
No,
I don't
but
care.
I think just out of decency, and Kat, give us a good reaction. Give us the play-by-play.
I literally don't care.
Okay. All right. So Hayley is dropping her pants. Luckily, they're nice, stretchy. Oh, your butt crack is crooked. Yeah, it goes straight up, and then like at a 45-degree angle, it veers to the right.
I told you, I know my butt crack. Did it look like a scar, or did it just look like a weird butt crack?
I was distracted by the butt crack, so I didn't notice the scar, but maybe if I like got a close up, I'd notice.
Oh my God. Yeah, she's crooked.
She is.
She's broken. She's had a rough life.
I wouldn't say broken. She's unique.
She's cracked. Yeah, she's unique for sure.
It's called a butt crack, not a butt like smooth.
Not
like,
a butt perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's cracked. You want to talk about wrinkles and lines? I've got lines.
Put some retinol on your butt crack.
Oh my God.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed you didn't have a tail.
I really think I used to, though.
I wish you did.
Or maybe they just like didn't even tell my parents.
They might not
maybe
have.
It's like a cover up.
There's all these scandals like way back, not even like that far back, but like when people were born intersex, they would just like if they had like an enlarged clitoris or something, they'd just snip it and not tell anybody.
That's so fucked up.
Really fucked up. But like doctors are known to do that shit.
And they've done studies where they ask people who are intersex going back, like, what would you have wanted? Mm-hmm. And all of them, pretty much all of them, if not all of them, are like, I wish they would have just kept it the same, because that has
then you can make your own
effects.
Decision.
Right. Yeah. I feel the same way about circumcision. I know
we'll talk about circumcision in this lesson.
Cool.
We'll have you'll get to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you were born with a tail, tails are typically 12 centimeters long. And I just kind of like wanted to look into this a little bit more, like about like when we had tails and how we lost them. So
I can tell you about lost tails.
like I miss her every day.
That's why I'm so clumsy. This was not a vestigial limb for me.
You needed it.
I needed it.
The vestigial tail can be traced back 350 million years ago.
That is unfathomable.
Right. We have 350 million year old fish fossils. And this is super crazy. These fish fossils, they look like fish. Like they have their like a regular fish tail, like, and then they have a scaly, fleshy, like animal tail growing out right above it.
Ooh.
And this is interesting because we originally thought that, you know, fish evolved into land-dwelling animals and we got tails. Okay, cool. But this kind of shows us that fish grew into land animals and then some land animals evolved back into being fish. And then like they had a vestigial tail as actual fish for a while.
Right, a little bit of both.
Uh-huh. There's also like, of course, fish who evolved to be semi-aquatic, semi-land dwelling, kind of like mud skippers and axolotls. And they evolved to just have like the regular land animal tail, not the flipper kind of tail. So like because we see this vestigial tail on fish, we think there were like two tail evolutions. So like I said, fish came out of the water, turned into land animals, but then land animals went back into the water and then they like, I don't know, there were two tail evolutions. I got kind of confused.
A tale of tails.
Yes, it's a tale of tails. But then like the fish came back out. So maybe there were three. I don't know. I'm sorry. I got really confused reading this article.
You're literally blowing my mind.
But basically there's like, we think we got our tails from the furthest we can trace back a primate with a tail is this creature called the Dryomoses zillali. And this is the first known primate with a tail that we think is one of our ancestors. So we think that that thing had a tail. We came from that thing. The fossil record for primates, like into their human evolution, is there's a lot of gaps. Like we don't have a lot of fossils because fossils are obviously very hard to come by when they're that old.
This segment is sponsored by Gap Jeans, Gap Dentistry, and Gaps in Your Resume.
Right. There are a lot of gaps here, which makes it very confusing. But we think that because great apes don't have a tail and like there's not really a fossil record showing like, okay, a tail was this big and then it got smaller and smaller and smaller. We have this like primate with a long tail and then we have great apes with no tails. And so it's hypothesized that once we started walking upright, we lost our tail.
I wish we were like kangaroos. Could really use that like strong tail behind me for balance and jumping.
Yeah, it would probably help.
I could use a third limb. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, like why did our tails go away? It seems like a useful
because all the
appendage.
freaking doctors were cutting them off.
The monkey doctors, like way back when. Stupid. My next bullet point is the vomeronasal organ. And so some animals have this. It's abbreviation is the VNO. And this is part of a totally separate sense of smell called the accessory olfactory system. So we have our sense of smell, but some animals have that and then a second like sense of smell.
It's like when you have a purse, but you also have a change pocket.
Yeah, like a clipped onto your purse.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's exactly like that.
Or like one of those little fancy hand sanitizer duos.
Oh, like the Bath and Body Works ones?
Yeah, like the bougie ones.
I could use one of those. They smell
too.
so good.
I have a mermaid one I got for Christmas, but like the exterior of it is like gelatinous. Like everything sticks to it.
Like it's sticky?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I know.
Gross.
I'm like, it's cute, but it's nasty.
I'm cute, but just sounds like a Meg Thee Stallion song.
Yeah, we strongly identify with this hand sanitizer holder.
Yeah. Okay, so like some animals have this second sense of smell, and it's thought that humans might have one too. There's a lot of studies that say that we do have part of an existing VNO structure, but the debate is whether it's still active or not. We don't think there is because there's no evidence of anything called an olfactory bulb, which the VNO needs. We can't find one in humans, so we don't think we have it. So the VNO probably serves no function in humans, but maybe the jury is kind of still out. Also, like if we have a VNO at all, it's like very small and it's only like a piece of it. So it probably doesn't work in humans anymore, but we're not entirely sure. But some animals do have a VNO. It's located in the soft tissue of the nasal septum, which is kind of like right above the nasal cavity on the roof of your mouth. And snakes and lizards have it. Also, a lot of mammals, including cats, dogs, pigs, and some primates. And horses have a vestigial one, like us. What it does is it detects liquid compounds from your environment. So you can kind of like smell the hormones of other animals. So it lets you smell prey and predators, and also lets you pick up sex hormones from potential mates.
What if men had this just to detect when women are on their periods, and that's why they're always asking us if we're on our periods?
But then they would know that we're on our period.
Would they?
If they could smell.
Right, but they seem a little dumb.
Yeah, but I feel like asking if you're on your period is just a sexist, rude thing to do.
It is.
But if they could smell, then they would know. What if they could smell all along? They're just purposely being sexist
Exactly.
and rude.
That's what I'm saying. Because asking that question is sexist and rude.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe. Alec, you want to weigh in?
I have a lot of like poker tells that I don't need to smell it.
Yeah, Alec the other day asked me if it was snack time a month because that's what I call when I have PMS.
She'll come home from Walgreens with like all these bags of chips and candy, and it's like, okay, it's that time of month.
It's snack time a month.
Oh yeah, like okay, so I have an IUD, and that can sometimes make your period disappear completely.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I'll get a spot one time, maybe a month. So it's like pretty much disappeared, but it's like all the symptoms are still there.
And like the symptoms are there full fledged. Like I get terrible cramps and like really aggressive discharge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Tommy was kissing me goodbye to go to work, and I was like, get off of me.
What?
Like I was just like,
You
I
were
get
angry?
irritable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I get irritable when I'm on my period.
Every once in a while I get that. Like when we filmed our last Night Creepy episode, when we went to the Crystal Cave, I just like wanted to fight, and I was like, why do I want to fight everyone? It's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
when we
It's 'cause
played dominoes
it's snack time a month.
afterwards.
Yeah. I
Oh
was
my
so
God.
angry at you guys while we were playing dominoes, and I kept having to check myself because I was like, they didn't do anything. I don't need to start a fight, but I want to start a fight.
Yes, you just want to fight. And like,
Yeah.
I like to debate, but it is like tenfold when I'm on my period. It is a whole other level.
We can't help it.
I
We
wish I
can't.
could smell it on myself so I know, like, I can prepare myself and others.
Right. I don't usually get angry on my period, but like when I do, I don't usually get angry at all. Like that's not an emotion that I usually have. So when I start feeling angry, like, what is this? And so like I kind of just I'm like, why? Because I don't usually want to fight ever.
I can see that. Yeah, you're always so understanding and just like smooth sailing.
Well, thank y'all.
Yeah.
I just hate feeling negative emotions, so I bury them.
I get irritable and then I'm like, why am I so irritated? I don't know, but I'm irritated.
I'm ready. The last little bit I have about this VNO is that the VNO, like, it serves to trigger a behavioral response. And so do you know what fleaming is?
No.
Have you ever seen a horse, like, Mr. Ed, the horse?
Mm-mm.
A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. No?
I mean, that rings a bell, but I don't know.
He was like a talking horse on TV, and he would like open his lips up and like show his teeth. you know?
Oh, okay.
And that's called, like, when horses do that, it's called fleaming, and they do it to, like, smell the sex hormones of another horse. And so this VNO triggers that. And cats do it too. Like, have you ever seen the cats, like, when they're, like, trying to smell something really intently, they'll, like, look like they're growling, like, they'll kind of, like, open their jaws and, like, breathe in and crinkle their lips. That's called fleaming. And so they're using their VNO when they're doing that. They're, like, trying to pull in, like, hormones from their environment. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Sucking it all in.
Yes. Sucking it all in.
We always thought it was so cute when Safety, my cat, breathes with his mouth open. But now I'm going to think about it differently, knowing that he's smelling for sex.
Well, he's not always smelling for sex, but it's like basically when you're smelling something really intensely and like pulling it through your mouth.
The hormones.
Because the VNO is like in the roof of your mouth. So when you breathe in through your mouth, I think it helps you smell it with that thing.
Hits that upper roof.
Yeah. It's like smelling with your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, now we get to talk about foreskins.
Yes. Don't snip the tip.
Okay. There's a lot of debate about whether a foreskin is a vestigial organ or still serves a purpose. In 1949, British physician Douglas Gardner claimed that this is not a vestigial structure and that it plays a very important role in newborns. He's quoted saying, "It is often stated that the prepuce is a vestigial structure devoid of function. However, it seems to be no accident that during the years when a child is incontinent, the glans is completely clothed by the prepuce. For deprived of this protection, the glans become susceptible to injury from contact with sodden clothes or a napkin." So basically, he's claiming that the foreskin acts to protect the penis. Also, during sex, the foreskin reduces friction and reduces the need for excess lubrication, so it can help make sex more comfortable. Some researchers point out that this isn't a great argument because you can not have a foreskin and still have a great time having sex. So, like, it's not necessary. But also, a lot of researchers and scientists claim that the foreskin facilitates HIV transmission. I guess what they mean is that, like, when you have sex, bodily fluids can become trapped in the foreskin and then spread to other people more easily.
I think that is a bullshit excuse. And it's the same thing. Like, they're just attaching something scary to it because the main argument there is that people with penises can't keep their dicks clean and it's an issue.
Yeah.
Which is not true.
I agree. I don't think there's still science backing this up, but this was a very popular claim to make in favor of circumcision.
Right. They'll do anything they can to keep the status quo.
It's like just clean your dick. Like,
right. It's not hard.
No. Like,
Push
sure,
it forward,
anything
pull it
can
back.
get infected if you don't fucking clean it.
Right. Like, we do it. You guys can do it.
We don't cut off in some cultures, like, the labia majora or minora is cut off, but like not, like, mine's not. I just keep it clean.
Right. At the end of the day, this is committing severe alteration to parts of your body where most of the time when a child is circumcised, they're babies. They have no say in it. And especially like female circumcision.
Yeah.
They're young and they have no say in it. And to me, like, I don't have a problem if you want to be circumcised or if you don't want to be, but I think that's a drastic decision to make.
Yeah, it should be a decision made by you if you're having that modification done to your body. And like, I don't feel like I know enough about it to really argue. I mean, I lean toward being anti-circumcision, but I wouldn't want to tell. I don't want to like be here saying like you should or shouldn't get your baby circumcised. It's a touchy topic, I think.
It is, and there are cultural norms that go along
and religious
with it.
too. Like in Judaism, you get circumcised.
Yeah, you guys know where I stand on it.
Yeah,
for my future kids one day.
Personally, I wouldn't get my child circumcised, but I also don't have children, and I'm not trying to pass judgment on anyone because it is a cultural norm in America. I don't want to upset anyone right now. I'm not trying to have a stance. Anyway, Let's move on. Oh, also one more thing about circumcision. Charles Darwin speculated that the foreskin may have served as a warning system for our naked ancestors. Basically, it protects the penis, and so if something is touching your foreskin, to get away, before it damages the penis.
Get away before they do something to it.
Right. Breasts I have in here breasts themselves are not a vestigial organ, but sometimes people are born with extra breasts or extra nipples, which are vestigial of when we had mammalian ancestors who had multiple nipples and breasts. Some males, not some males, pretty much all males are also born with nipples, which are, of course, considered vestigial because in males, they don't have a function. Males are born with nipples because fetuses start out as sexless, and then later on in development, testosterone is introduced to help them develop sexed characteristics. But your nipples develop before these hormones are introduced. So everyone has nipples. But male nipples might have a small role in sexual stimulation, and also some men can lactate. I kind of just went down the rabbit hole a little bit of male lactation. There's some anthropological evidence to suggest that this is possible. In the 1896 compendium, Anomalies and Curiosities of Medicine, George Gould and Walter Pyer cataloged several instances of male nursing. There was a South American man who subbed as a wet nurse when his wife got sick. There are male missionaries in Brazil who nursed their own children because their wives, quote, had shriveled breasts. Not sure what that means, but
they may not have even tested for this, but I know that some couples who have transitioned, they've been able to breastfeed their children.
Yeah, and I have that at the end of my notes because basically, if we're gonna summarize, male lactation is possible, and that is really good news for trans women because you can be go through hormones, and if you stimulate your nipples properly, it takes a lot of training, but you can induce lactation and feed your own baby.
Right. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if these people who did it in, you said the 1890s?
Yeah, a long time ago. This book was from 1896, but there's evidence of this all from then on. In 2002, the Aegean's Fresh Press reported that a 38-year-old Sri Lankan man nursed his daughters after his wife died. And then there's also this medical anthropologist named Dana Raphael, and she wrote the book The Tender Gift, Breastfeeding, and in it she claims that men can induce breastfeeding by stimulating their nipples. And this was a debate for a while because she said that just nipple stimulation can make men lactate, but other experts claim that you have to have a hormone spike in the presence of prolactin, which is the hormone that makes milk. Mm-hmm. So they were kind of arguing that if you just are a man with an excess of this hormone, that makes you lactate. But in a 1995 article called Father's Milk,
Daddy's Milk,
right, by physiologist Jared Diamond, and he's a famous guy. But anyway, he kind of reconciled these two arguments by claiming that stimulation of the nipples produces prolactin. So if you stimulate your nipples enough, you make the lactation hormone, and men can produce milk. Starvation can also make men produce milk. It kind of it inhibits the function of a certain hormone gland and the hormone absorbing liver. And I don't know, it starts lactation somehow.
Something about science, or we don't really know, but we know this is what happens.
I know. I couldn't get into it too much, but it's really interesting because it's like starvation and extreme stress that can do this. And it's been observed in Nazi concentration camps and Japanese prisoner of war camps in World War II, men starting to lactate because they were under so much physical stress. Men do sometimes grow breasts, so it's really common actually for boys in puberty to develop breasts, but the tissue usually goes away after puberty. So fully grown men don't usually have breasts, but they can lactate. And of course, like you mentioned earlier, this is really great news for trans women that they can breastfeed their own children. Another vestigial behavior is goosebumps. And this is a vestigial reflex because it was originally for raising our hair when we were furry. When we'd get scared and have an adrenaline spike, we'd raise our hair to like scare away predators and make ourselves look bigger.
Imagine now if everyone could see your goose pimples or goosebumps. I don't know why I just said goose pimples. That's a different
term.
word. Yeah.
You're right.
Your goose pimples, it just seems weird. I don't know why.
It's a very Midwestern way to call it out, I think.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, about your goose pimples, it'd be funny because that's like in middle school, like if a guy got like a boner or something, everyone's like, oh my God. Like if you could see someone's goose pimples, you'd be like, oh my God, they're like scared or embarrassed. Like what if it was calling yourself
Wait, people
out?
would make fun of each other for their goosebumps?
I don't know. I'm imagining.
Oh,
like if they could
imagine
like,
if it's like getting a boner.
Right, yeah. Like if you had long hairs attached to it and they're like, what's like freaking them out?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that would be crazy.
Especially in middle school, because middle school is hell.
Yeah, you make fun of anyone for anything. It's all fair game. And of course, this is also like we get goosebumps when we're cold. So like this was because like we would raise our hair to keep us warm. Now it's pretty much useless. Hiccups are a vestigial behavior. We think, because it's been proposed that hiccup is an evolutionary remnant of amphibian respiration. So basically how amphibians breathe is they gulp a mixture of air and water across their lungs with like this motor reflex. It's very similar to hiccuping. Also, the motor pathway that makes it possible to hiccup develops very early in utero before the motor pathway is responsible for regular lung function. And there's this thing called the recapitulation theory where the things you develop earlier in utero come from further back in our evolution. Kind of like the brainstem, like our lizard brain.
Yeah.
And so it's thought that we developed hiccuping before we developed our modern day lung function.
So you can't hiccup in the womb.
You can.
Or can you? Okay.
Yeah, you can. Because that reflex comes before our regular breathing reflex, we think that that's because it was like something we had evolutionarily before we learned to breathe properly, like possibly from our amphibian relatives way millions of years before us. In human hiccups and amphibian breathing, it can be inhibited by increased CO2 because it shares this trait. We think they're super similar. Also, premature infants spend 2.5% of their time hiccuping, possibly because they're gulping like amphibians because their lungs aren't fully formed.
That's weird.
Yeah. Super weird. We're not sure that this is the reason, and we're not sure that this is a vestigial function. Another thing that's been like proposed is that hiccups actually serve a purpose in fetal development. Basically, like because babies get hiccups in the womb that lasts like 5 to 10 minutes usually, we think maybe they're just like exercising their like breathing
Right,
structures.
yeah, working out the lungs.
Yeah, it's like a workout, but we don't think so because they don't think that this actually strengthens their lungs that much. And so I think that people mainly think that it's a leftover behavior from when we were reptiles. Which, how crazy is that?
The next time I get hiccups, I'm going to be like, I see you, ancestors. You're here.
Yes.
I hate having hiccups, though. It hurts.
Yeah, it does hurt. But kind of feels good.
No, it
Really?
never feels good for me.
I think it kind of feels good. All right.
Weird.
Well, that's all I have on human vestigial organs, structures, and functions.
My gosh, we had such good conversations about all these things.
I know. And I was going to wrap it up. I have like 3 animals I was going to talk about, but we've gone really long. So I think I might just save animal vestigial functions for another day.
Dang it.
I know. I'm sorry. But it's something to look forward to. They're pretty good.
If you're going to make me look at the bright side, I guess I will.
Yeah, there will be another lesson coming in the future because I loved this topic. So thank you for listening to my lesson. My sources are scienceoxford.com, smithsonianmag.com, Wikipedia, Seeker.com, naturalworldnews.com, livescience.com, and a Scientific American article called The Strange But True Males Can Lactate by Nikhil Swaminathan. And that's my lesson.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
You ready?
Yeah. Well, no, if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. Tell a friend, and maybe even join our Patreon. Thank you very much. We love you. Thank you for listening. And
3, 2, 1.
class dismissed.